Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Controversial trade proposal sees Warriors land former DPOY. The Golden State Warriors currently boast a top 5 defense in the NBA. After a strong start to the season, they sit atop the Western Conference. However, the front office will undoubtedly look for ways to sustain that hot start in the coming months. According to Colin Keane of Sporting News, former Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart could be a logical trade target. The Warriors could send Melton's expiring contract along with Kuminga's expiring contract over to Memphis for Smart. The money matches up perfectly, Keane reasoned. And since that isn't a fair deal for Golden State straight up, the Warriors could also ask for a first-round pick from Memphis, say, in 2028. Memphis would be turning Smart's contract into cap space for the upcoming offseason, and the Grizzlies could decide this summer if they want to use some of that money to retain either Melton or the rising star Kuminga after having seen Kuminga on the roster for half a season or more. When healthy, Smart is arguably a top 3 defensive guard in the NBA. He's improved as a perimeter scorer in recent years and has significant postseason experience. Most importantly, though, he has shown he can excel as a lead guard. Keane's trade proposal to send Smart to the Warriors is built off Brady Siegel's reporting for Clutch Points. The emergence of Scottie Pippen Jr. and rookie Jalen Wells has league personnel wondering if the Memphis Grizzlies would consider moving former Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart, sources said, Siegel reported. Smart has one more year left on his contract after this season and occupies a near $20 million salary slot that the Grizzlies could utilize to add another high-profile player. Convincing the Warriors to part ways with Jonathan Kuminga will be difficult. He has emerged as a potential all-star of the future. However, he's in the final year of his rookie-scale contract and will become a restricted free agent in the summer. If the Warriors want to avoid a potential free agency saga, moving Kuminga could be the answer. Smart would instantly improve Golden State's rotation. He also fits the Stephen Curry and Draymond Green timeline. However, the Warriors would lose some of their explosiveness on the wing. Kuminga enjoyed a breakout 2023-24 NBA season. As such, he has high value around the NBA, thus making him the Warriors' biggest trade chip. It's unlikely the front office would be willing to lose him in a deal for Smart. Perhaps the Warriors' stance would be different if they were struggling on defense. However, Smart's value is somewhat redundant as one of the best rear guard units in the NBA. Instead, the Warriors will likely look to keep Kuminga around for the long term. He's shown enough upside to persevere with his development. It won't always be pretty, but if Kuminga can continue his current progress, he will be a leading star in the future. Golden State has been straddling 2 developmental timelines for years now. It makes no sense to change course unless the return is a genuine superstar. Steve Kerr defends Steph Curry's minute strategy after Brooklyn loss. The Warriors suffered a 128-120 loss to the Nets on Monday night, the team's second loss in a row, and head coach Steve Kerr has addressed Steph Curry's minutes. Curry had a team-high 28 points in 29 minutes, but the team fell to pieces when he wasn't on the floor and allowed an 18-point comeback. Like every game, Steph went to the bench with 4:33 remaining in the third and the Dubs were up by 9 points. Once he checked back with 7:29 minutes to go in the fourth, the Nets had gone on a 25-11 run, a deficit even Steph couldn't overcome. After the somewhat preventable loss, Kerr was queried about Curry's minutes since he's averaging less than 30 minutes per game this year. We usually pencil him in for 32 minutes, and we like to keep it around that number, Kerr told reporters. We were able to give him a good rest in the first half because the second unit was playing really well. I don't love to run him the whole fourth quarter and I like to have him close with some energy, and so that means if we can give him that last 8 minutes, generally, I feel pretty good about that. But at that point, Brooklyn was rolling, and we couldn't slow them down. Kerr's comments are fairly interesting, considering how difficult it has been for Golden State to close out opponents in the second half. But it doesn't seem like the storied head coach has any plans to change his current strategy when it comes to Steph's playing time. The Warriors are sitting on a 12-5 record and are second seed in the West, despite the back-to-back losses. Their next game will be a huge test against number 1 seed OKC, who defeated the Dubs earlier this month. NBA rumors, speculated trade target could legitimize Warriors. The Warriors can gain legitimacy in the league with a bold move at the trade deadline. Even though the Warriors lost 2 games in a row, they still had a strong start to the season, especially considering this is a team that not much was expected of. However, despite the strong start to the year, if the Warriors are going to emerge as a legitimate contender in the Western Conference, they will almost certainly have to make a trade deadline upgrade to their roster. While much has been made about their desire to acquire a starting caliber center, the argument can be made that they would benefit greatly from a versatile player in the frontcourt, no matter what position they would theoretically play. As we get closer to the NBA trade deadline, the list of Lakers-linked trade targets will only grow. Lakers insider Anthony F. Irwin hinted that the team is still interested in a possible Dorian Finney-Smith trade. Irwin noted that the Warriors asked about DFS last season, but a deal never materialized. With how the Brooklyn Nets are expected to operate heading into the trade deadline, DFS could be an option again for the Warriors. And looking at what the Warriors need in the frontcourt, DFS is a player that can legitimize the team as a contender in the West. In many ways, DFS could fill a lot of what the Warriors need in the frontcourt. The big question is whether AD and DFS could coexist on the court together. On paper, you would have to believe so. Averaging 11 points and 5 rebounds per game on 47% shooting from the field and 41% shooting from three-point range, while also emerging as a versatile defensive force, there is reason to believe that DFS could be the trade target that the Warriors need. Whether Warriors would be willing to part with the assets that will likely be needed to close a deal remains to be seen. However, saying there are no trade targets to help the Lakers climb the West ladder is pretty silly. Whether Warriors will want to go all in for that core is the big question. But if the Lakers continue to play at the pace they have been playing at during the first month and more of the season, it will be difficult for the front office not to explore a needle-moving switch at the deadline. Perhaps DFS could be the Lakers' main target. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Dorian Finney-Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.